pain. Today we're going to focus on some shoulder release, mobility, and activation, as well as some strength training exercises you can do to help strengthen those shoulders and posture. So we're going to get right to it. You're going to need a tennis ball right off the bat, and you're going to place that tennis ball on your trigger point right at that shoulder. I like to place mine, well, you can kind of search around and find it, but this is typically the spot right about here. Your levator scapula comes down and attaches right about here, also right in the middle of those rhomboids, maybe just a little bit higher than the rhomboids. So just kind of search around, find the trigger point for you. You're gonna lay on the ball. If this is too much, you can move it to the wall. So find that spot and breathe. Maybe you can search around, find that angle where it just hits it perfectly. If it kind of takes your breath away and it's painful, it's probably the right spot. So you're gonna breathe here for at least 30 seconds. You can hold it for up to 2 minutes. You can also do a very slow arm raise. So the ball's on my left side, I'm raising my left arm. Very slowly go at whatever range of motion you can handle, and then you can increase that range of motion. So just lifting that arm and lifting it back down. If you get good at that and you can go a pretty good range of motion, nice and slow and controlled, you can start bringing your hand across to the opposite hip while you're holding this ball. So first you want to hold about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, then you can start working in the arm movements. You can also try a snow angel motion, rolling that hand across the floor and back. So you want to be really consistent with these. If your trigger point there is super overactive, you want to release this at least twice a day. 3 times is better. I even put a tennis ball in my car. Obviously you want to focus on driving, the number one thing, but you can put that tennis ball there and just drive with that ball right there behind your shoulder, just letting it release. Good, and then switch sides. Before you switch sides, notice the difference in the space from one side to the other. Even if you started on your bad side, you probably feel the difference in the 2 sides. Going to the other side, releasing that shoulder. Ooh, sometimes my non-bad side is the one that's more painful. Again, you can find a couple of spots here, so once you release one, don't stop there. You can get at it to a different angle, or you can find another little spot. Sometimes there's a couple clustered together, and sometimes it's just a matter of hitting that same spot at a different angle. You can even grab that upper trap and just massage above where your ball is, and then start working the arm up and down very slow. Again, if you just can go this far and that's all you've got, that's okay. Do a small, slow range of motion. Just work really slow. Move the ball maybe just a little bit forward or backward. Whoo! Sometimes you can get an even juicier spot. And sometimes that means that you won't have the mobility. Breathing definitely helps. And then just working in that range of motion that you can work in. You can bring that hand across your body. Woo! What we're trying to do here is we're trying to get that movement back into the scapula. So a lot of times we get these overactive points here. These trigger points start really firing up and overactive because your scapula gets stuck. There are other reasons as well. Upper cross syndrome is probably one of the most common reasons why this spot acts up, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So just getting into the movement. Again, you can pause the video and do as much as you want. You can do a snow angel if you want. I didn't give myself enough room against the wall. But pause the video, do as many release moves as you can and as you feel like you need. Then, if you're really having issues, maybe go back to the other side and repeat that process one more time. move to a peanut. A peanut is 2 tennis balls duct taped together. You can also buy a tool that's called a peanut, which is just 2 balls glued together basically. You can use 2 tennis balls and duct tape them together. Why not? You're gonna take the peanut and you're gonna go right along your spine. I actually like to place this just below the skull of my head, and I'll just hold the peanut and just wiggle my head back and forth. And then I'm gonna move 1 vertebrae down and do the same thing, trying to relax as I just massage alongside the spine. We'll go down 1 more vertebrae, same thing, trying to relax as you're just massaging up and down the spine. Next vertebrae, keep going, back and forth. Next vertebrae, whoo, back and forth. Next vertebrae, back and forth. And then you may have to bring your head up. If you want to support your head just a little bit, you can. And then you can just roll that peanut down your spine. So it's your spine's going down the center of the peanut, and you can just press back up into that peanut. You can roll your head side to side or roll your back side to side, move 1 vertebrae and side to side. Again, if this is too much, you can move it to the wall. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Just keep moving along that spine, whatever feels good, release. Maybe stopping in one of those points a little longer. Maybe you go all the way to open once you get to that mid-back, and you release those arms out to the side and just breathe. Sometimes that's super helpful to open up the chest. Good, and then woo, go down 1 more vertebrae. Wherever you need more time, take it. You can always pause the video and spend some time. So if you're doing these releases on the wall, you can do your shoulder one also on the wall and just set it on the wall. Sometimes I can get at a different angle on the wall. Sometimes it's better and sometimes it's worse. So it just depends. Sometimes you can push a little bit more pressure at a certain angle. Woo. And sometimes the floor is better. So definitely experiment with both. Sometimes you can just back off the pressure a little bit. If you need less, you can bring your feet closer to the wall. If you need more, you can bring your feet further away and get deeper, a little bit more body weight into that. Also helpful because you can get up onto the upper traps a little bit more on the wall. So maybe you can move the ball a little higher than you can on the floor. So I'm gonna do a little bit on the other side because it feels so good. So stepping away, and you can roll the ball a little bit easier on the wall here too if you really need to work out a knot. So you're doing these releases, you're releasing, you're basically giving yourself a massage, SMR, self-myofascia release. Awesome. And then you can do the same thing with your peanut, putting the peanut on either side of your spine. Sometimes it's hard to get it even on the wall. And then just push it down, drip side to side. Just roll it down the back just a little bit. And same thing, drip side to side. And roll it down the back just a little bit. Same thing, drip side to side. I'm just releasing the pressure off of it and letting it kind of fall down just to the next vertebrae. And drip side to side. All right, cool. So that's how you do your releases. The more you do your releases, the more consistent you are, the better you're gonna feel. So make sure you do them at least 2 to 3 times a week, or a day. If it gets more mild, then you can move to 2 to 3 times a week. But definitely do them a couple times a day. All right, cool. And then we're gonna go to doing some foam rolling. I'm doing them in the same order here. We put the on the sheet, which I'll share with you at the end. So your foam roller, you're gonna sit in front of it. You're gonna bring it to your mid to low back. You're going to cross your hands in front. Do a very slight thoracic extension, kind of tuck your chin, and then you're gonna drip side to side, just really easy massaging the side of the back body. Drip down one vertebrae and do the same thing. Slight thoracic extension, you might get a free adjustment, and then drip side to side. If you have any back problems, I would recommend talking to your doctor before you do any of these moves. Slight thoracic extension and drip side to side. And work in your range of motion. Come down one vertebrae, slight thoracic extension, drip side to side. Same thing, slight thoracic extension, drip side to side. Once you reach the bottom of your scapula, bring your hands to the back of your head to support your head. Don't pull on your neck. You're going to do a slight glute bridge type of action and massage all the way up that upper back. So you can get all the way up under those traps, all the way through the scapula. You can even roll side to side, releasing the rhomboids there, and this should feel very nice. Releasing that upper back. Good. Repeat as needed. All right, cool. We're gonna move into a couple of strength training things. First thing is three-way scap flies. So you're gonna grab a lightweight band for this, and if you don't have any bands, I can recommend some for you. There's some really inexpensive band setups on Amazon these days. So I'm just gonna use a 10-pound band, a lightweight band. Other bands that work, you can use a floppy band such as this, or you can also use a long round band like this. It looks like this, just as long as it's a lightweight band. So you're gonna bring that band up, hands just a little wider than shoulder height, and then you're gonna squeeze your scapula together, drive those hands out, bring the band to your chest. Squeeze your scapula, really focusing on the back, keeping your head in line with your spine. So make sure your head doesn't come forward, but keep your head back in line with your spine. Arms out, squeeze the scapula together, really focusing on squeezing the scapula. So squeeze, bands going right across your chest, squeeze, arms slightly bent at the top or at the end. Flexion, squeeze, and you're gonna do 10 reps of these. Good, 2 more. Squeeze, see if you can really touch those shoulder blades together, keeping those shoulders down away from your ears. Good, just round those shoulders forward and relax. Awesome, we're gonna go above your head. You're gonna pretend like you're doing a pull-up here. So you're gonna bring that band towards your chest. You're gonna think about yourself coming up over a pull-up bar, squeeze down towards your chest, squeeze your scapula in and down. So you're getting some movement in your scapula as you're moving your hands down. Squeeze your scapula in and down. So you're literally thinking about the scapula moving in and down your back as you move your band, pull down. Think about pulling yourself up over a pull-up bar, squeeze in and down. And here's what it looks like from the side view. Squeeze in and down. Elbows slightly bent, squeeze in and down. Bands coming to your chest. Squeeze in and down. Focus on the movement of the scapula, keeping that head in line with your spine. That's it. Let's just do a couple more. I'm going to do 10 of these on each variation. And rest. Just round those shoulders forward, just stretch it out, release that neck. Any tension that came in, we want to release. Good, we're going to do the last variation, which is very similar to the one we just did, but it's going to go behind your head this time. I call this the ponytail brusher. So you want to make sure that you don't bring your head forward, but you keep your head in line with your spine. Your band is literally going to brush your ponytail, stop at the top of your upper traps. You're still thinking about the band, or your scapula squeezing in and down on each one. So here's what it looks like from the front view. You might have to redo your ponytail after this. This is okay. You just want to brush that ponytail, stop at the top. Try not to hyperextend. that would be a different shoulder mobility exercise, which is a good one, but not this one. So squeezing those shoulder blades in and down, still focusing on that. It's not as drastic as the last one, but you can certainly feel it. Just a couple more, squeeze, and last one, and rest. Round those shoulders forward, just stretch it out, release your neck, release your back. Awesome. So, like I was saying, upper cross syndrome is another really common muscle imbalance, that posture imbalance that causes shoulder pain, specifically right about here. The reason why it causes shoulder pain here is because you have this levator scapula coming down that actually attaches right in there. Quite a few things attached there, but upper cross syndrome is when you bring your head naturally falls forward. So as a personal trainer, I find almost everyone has upper cross syndrome, including myself. So it's where our shoulders are rounded forward, our head is falling forward, we're looking at our devices all day, we're on the computer, and so it's just one of those postures, we're driving our cars, that we all have kind of evolved into. So what we want to do is we want those shoulders to be squeezing back. We want your head in line with your spine. So we're going to do a few chin tucks. So relax, and then what I want you to do is tuck that chin back. Keep those shoulders down away from your ears, and hold for 5 to 20 seconds, and then release, and then do another one. Tuck that chin back. Get your head in line with your spine. Make sure that you're squeezing those shoulder blades down and back, and release. And again, tuck that chin and release. Front view, it's like double chin and relax. It should feel kind of stretching, but also like you're strengthening something. And relax. And relax. Let's just do a couple more. And relax. So this is especially a good one for triathletes, because as you're cycling in aero position, we don't want our head to fall forward. If we do, then our neck is just pulling right on that spot in the shoulder. So you're rounding your back body, you're keeping your head in line with your spine, and then you're reverting your eyes upward. So you want to try and keep that posture, revert your eyes upward. So make sure you're safe, you're looking at the road in front of you, but that's why when I ride my tri-bike, I really don't get to sightsee much. So just make sure you're not head falling forward or doing this. If you're doing this, you're really impinging that neck, so you want that head in line with your spine and reverting your eyes forward. So when you're sitting at work, you're typing away, you're gonna make sure that your posture, your head's in line with your spine, your shoulders are down away from your ears. You're not doing one of these numbers. And then anytime you perform strength training exercises, you want to make sure that you're in that posture. Do your chin tucks to really stretch and strengthen that position, so that it will help you to naturally have this position and eliminate that upper cross syndrome, which is where your head falls forward. Again, very common. All right, cool. We're gonna do a mobility exercise, thoracic twist, coming on down to tabletop. You're gonna bring your right arm down and then reach your left arm up. So try not to reach behind you. Try not to bring that arm forward or backward to get more range of motion. Just work in your range of motion. If this is as high as your arm goes in that range of motion, that's fine. We'll give you a front view. If you can only get here, that's fine. We'll work on driving that bottom shoulder forward and twisting up. And then switch. And then switch. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, opening the chest, activating the back. Switch. Trying to get a little bit more mobility here. In the back. Squeeze the scapula. Squeeze. And you want to do maybe 20 reps on this for some mobility, opening the chest, activating the back, it's a really good one to do before you do some strength training, so that you're really activating that back, getting it ready to work out, and opening up the chest. It's a really good one for posture as well. All right, we're gonna do a standing shoulder extension. For that, we can use a band. Again, if you need some suggestion for bands, there's some very inexpensive options out there. So you can attach the band to itself, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hook this loop on either a door handle or something stable. So I'm gonna use my pull-up tower over here. I'm gonna connect the band and one handle. My handle. So one band coming out from the door, again, you can loop it around a door handle, just as secure. You're gonna stand facing the band. Your hand is gonna be about 8 to 12 inches out from your thigh. Straight arm is straight posture, head in line with your spine. Just gonna take your hand and brush your thigh with a straight arm. That's it. So standing shoulder extension. Here's 3, press, 4, press, 5. Again, not a huge range of motion here. You're only going an inch or 2 past your thigh, working small muscles in your shoulder, so you really don't need a lot of strength or resistance here. We're gonna do 10 on each side. Okay, and then switch sides. So I'll show you just the side view. So the side view, my arm's about here. I'm gonna squeeze back, squeeze that back body, keep my head in line with my spine. Other arm would look like this. Just squeeze back. And that's it, feeling that in the back of the shoulders here, really strengthening up those rotator cuffs. And then we're gonna do another internal, external rotator cuff exercise. Really good for swimming. This time you're gonna stand sideways to the band. Your elbow is gonna be locked in towards your ribs, and then you're just gonna drive that hand across. Drive across. You can adjust your resistance. If you need more or less, you can step away to add resistance. And across. Again, if I was looking straight at you, the elbow is tucked into the ribs and driving across. Okay? I know I'm at a weird angle to the video. So that's internal rotation. Do 10 on each. Then you're going to take one step close to the point of the band and switch arms and go external rotation. So you do external on the same side. 10 of those, keeping that elbow locked in, working those rotator cuff muscles, keeping that head in line with your spine. And then you're going to do the same sequence on the other side. So you can simply keep the same arm and just turn around, go across, elbow tucked into your side, 10 of those. And then take one step in, switch arms, and going out, 10 of those. Okay, so that would be one set of each. So internal, across, external, out, keeping that elbow in, really feeling the rotator cuffs in the back. Small muscles or 4 rotator cuff muscles, and they're all pretty small, so you don't need a lot of resistance. Start with a very lightweight band on that. All right, cool. Just moving on to a little bit more mobility is against the wall, some wall angels. So you want to try and bring your feet close to the wall as you can, and then keep your pinky side of your hands on the wall as you go all the way up angel and all the way back down. So all the way up angel and all the way back down, trying to keep your pinky side on the wall at all times. Okay? Just building a little mobility, and you want to do about 10 reps of those. Next one is a star with a band. You can use the same type of band. We don't need a handle for this one, or you can use a mini band or a floppy band. I'm going to show you a lightweight mini loop. Again, you can find these all come in a really nice band set with handles and little loop bands, all kinds of variations of resistance, 10 to 50 pound bands for like 20 bucks on Amazon. So we're gonna do a loop band. You can hold it here, and we're going to do a forklift. So 90-degree elbows, you're gonna just lift up, slow and controlled, and then lift back down, slow and controlled. This is one of those exercises that the first one, you're like, that's it. And then by like 5, you're like, oh my gosh, my arms are on fire. So just slow and controlled, forklift, and slow and controlled. I'll show you the front view. You just want to go till your arms, elbows about shoulder height. You don't have to lift that fork up any higher. So keeping that 90-degree all the way through. Forklift, ow! And feel the burn. So about 10 to 12 reps of that. Good, just shake it out, counterbalance. The last one I'm gonna show you is a star. You can use the same band. You're gonna put your forearms on the wall. You're gonna go up, diagonal, out, diagonal, and down, and then the same on the other side. Diagonal, down, and diagonal, down, and down. So you can do that with a mini band here, forearms on the wall. You're going up, diagonal, out, diagonal, down, and then up, diagonal, out, diagonal, and down. You might be feeling the burn. Up, diagonal, out, diagonal, and down, and up, diagonal, out, diagonal, and down. And you want to work into this, so maybe just do a couple at a time, and then build to 3, and then do 2 sets of 3, and then do 2 sets of 4, and then do 5, and do 2 sets of 5. So build into those, they burn, especially if you're doing all those other things at a time, and you may only need to start with a couple exercises. All right, cool, we're gonna do a couple stretches here to finish it off. One of my favorites is a wide leg forward fold. What you're going to do is you're gonna bring your right hand across the body to the left, outside of the left calf. Your left hand can come to your tailbone, or it can wrap all the way around to the inside of the crease of your right hip. You're going to simply pull back from that right arm. So you're going to use leverage from the calf to pull back and play around with this. You're going to find that stretch in the rhomboid as you pull back. So you want to lean back into that stretch into the shoulder. You're using your hand as leverage. If you can't reach down that far, you can go just below the knee, but make sure you're not tugging on the knee joint. You can go just below the knee. I find it's best if you can reach your calf. Even if you bend those knees a little bit, you can still get that leverage on that shoulder. So really driving back to feel that rhomboid stretch. And if you're not feeling that stretch across this back of your shoulder here, then you're not quite doing it right. So try and reset and see if you can find that. Then do the other side. So wide stance, left arm outside of the right calf, and then lean back. So you're leaning back, driving that shoulder back. Oh yeah, baby. And then the opposite hand to your tailbone, or you can wrap it all the way to the crease. Whatever feels good there. And again, yes, you're stretching the hamstrings, but yes, you are mostly focusing on the rhomboid, stretching between your scapula. We need to get those scapula unstuck. Good. And release, hands down, bend the knees, slowly rise. Awesome. Next, I want to show you a 3-way neck stretch, so that you can really address that upper cross syndrome or neck issues. A lot of this neck stuff pulls on the back and into those shoulders. especially if you're running with your head slightly forward, or if you're in an arrow position and you're looking up, or your head's falling down, or if you type a lot, or if you look at your phone a lot. So pretty much everyone, but also triathlete specific. Okay, so you're gonna make a number 4. So right arm is gonna grab the left arm, long left arm, right arm's bent. So number 4 behind your back. What you're gonna do is, I like to grab above my elbow if you can, if you have that mobility. You're gonna pull your left shoulder down away from your ear. You're gonna bring your right shoulder towards your right ear towards your right shoulder, and just lengthen that left side of the neck. Now don't force anything, just kind of let gravity do the work here and let that ear just drip down towards your shoulder. And then encourage your left shoulder down away from your ear by, you can actually grab it with your right hand and pull it down and really feel that stretch. Make sure your head's not falling forward on this one, but it's in line with your spine. So your shoulder and your ear are in line. And breathe. I'm gonna hold this 30 to 60 seconds, 2 minutes at most. Takes 30 seconds for your muscles to release. First thing that they do is try to protect themselves from overstretching. And then it takes at least 30 seconds for you to get the benefit from the stretch, so make sure you're patient on this one. In this position, all you're gonna do is simply turn your gaze out over your right shoulder. Now you're gonna get into a little bit different angle here. You're gonna be working more into the levator scap there on the back of the neck. And breathe. Still encouraging that left shoulder away from your ears by pulling it down with your right hand. And again, make sure you're not forcing that stretch, but just letting gravity do the work. Holding this one, and then you're gonna slowly just turn your gaze up. If it's okay with your neck, if this one causes any discomfort, don't do it. Sometimes I like to just drift my chin upwards slightly here and get a little bit more into the scalenes on the front. And roll that head forward, release and unwind. Good. Now notice how different your body feels from one side to the next. Maybe roll your head side to side. Maybe you have a lot more motion on this side than this side. I'm like, boing, and this side's like, wing. All right, so we have to balance it out. So number 4, left arm grabs the right, long arm, number 4 on the back. Long arm, encourage that right shoulder down away from your ear. And then just drip your left ear to your left shoulder, not forcing anything, let gravity do that work for you. And then you can encourage that shoulder down with your left hand. And breathe. Again, at least 30 seconds. And again, make sure you're not dripping that head forward. Just letting gravity do the work. And breathe. Slight bend in those knees. Don't lock those knees out. We don't want to be breathing with those knees locked. You can even stagger your stance here just slightly if you want to, just to be safe. Good. Just simply turn your gaze out over your left shoulder. Oh yeah, baby. Drive that shoulder away from your ear with your left hand, really grabbing and pulling that shoulder down away from your ear. Letting gravity do the work on everything else. You're gazing out over that left shoulder. Woo! Be patient with these, 30 seconds on each. This is really important for the health of your shoulders, because all those neck attachments all kind of intertwine there. Good, just slowly turn that gaze up and maybe pull that chin away from your shoulder. Getting into those scalenes just a little bit. If this causes any discomfort, skip this one. Encouraging that shoulder down away from your ear. And relax. Good. Slowly release. Release the neck. Awesome. Good. Shoulders shrug just a little bit. And maybe round forward. This is what I call a gorilla stretch. I like to bring one shoulder forward and then the other shoulder forward. Just nice little counterbalance. Awesome. And then let me think here. I think that is all I had on the list today. So just remember that when you're driving, I literally have to take my ponytail out when I'm driving to make sure that my head's in line with my spine. When I'm working, I have to make sure that I'm not doing this if I'm working on the computer. So making sure that your posture, part of that is that back activating. So make sure you do those scap flies, get some motion in your scapula and activate that back. And then also when you're doing, when you're riding your bike in aero position or when you're doing exercises, make sure that you keep that first. Anything from bicep curls to standing rows or anything, just make sure you're keeping that head in line with your spine. Awesome. Hopes this helps.